Well, good morning, traders. Certainly the risk parity trade seems to be working. Equities higher, the dollar lower, bond prices higher. Certainly the front end of the curve, you've seen that breakdown in twos through to new lows. A lot of focus on what's happening in the OIS market, but also now the Fed funds market, where we've seen Fed funds going through the December contract going above par now, and obviously showing that we're pricing in negative rates there. We've seen Raphael Bostic from the Federal Reserve talking about the Fed deploying this whole full arsenal, some comments that he's regurgitated there. We've seen Kenneth Rogoff also coming out of regurgitating an article about his desire to see negative interest rates, something that I'm sure a lot of people won't believe in or won't share with their situation as well. And we've seen the VIX pushing 30% as well. When we saw dollar CNH coming off, we saw that rolling over. A lot of people were focused on S&P futures. They rallied. There's going to be a meeting next week between the vice chair of the PBOC and also Robert Lighthizer from the trade representative team there. So that's something that's maybe given a bit of inspiration to the market. But let's have a look at the board and see what we're seeing today. S&P 1.2% higher. A bit of rotation out of healthcare, and you've seen some leadership overnight in energy, financials, which is interesting given the flattening of the curve and the news that we're seeing in the Fed funds market at the moment. You've got the Nasdaq. This is the story of the day. Going positive for the year, up 1.3% in the cash. We're still waiting for the futures to break out, but that looks good. Have a look at what you've been seeing. SPY futures only up 9 basis points on the change, but you can see here the close of the ASX 200 and Nikkei. This is the S&P futures, the white line. Really nice melt up through European trade and into US trade. And then we've got this bleed into the close. But they're up 1.2%. That gives us some backbone. You can see SPY futures not really going along for the ride as to the same tune. Brent, as you can see, having a nice move up into sort of $32 on the back of that Saudi news that they've reduced the discount. But then it sort of closed and collapsed into the close. FX markets, well, NOK working really well despite that reversal we saw in the crude price there, and you can see that the Euro NOK continues to work quite nicely. So it's been a high beat today. The dollar under a bit of pressure there. Have a look at the fixed income markets. I talk about there's a nice bid coming through, twos at 13 basis points at the moment. A little bit of selling of vol, and you can see the close there in terms of commodity prices there. So an interesting day, one back for the bulls. Trade it with Pepperstone.